All right, so here's how I do frequency retouching. Now, just how I got into it, I watched a video a couple of years ago. I think it was from Flern, and it was like, oh man, this is complicated. I put it aside, but I like the look of frequency retouching, and I wanted it for this kind of image here. A year and a half ago, I shot this for a local magazine. This was the cover of the magazine. I really wanted to get that look going, so I went back and studied it some more, and I figured out sort of the cheap and easy way to do frequency retouching. Now, I did buy some Creative Live videos from Lisa Carney. She bought the brush. They photoshopped the new brush ones, which is really, really good, by the way. And there was a bonus on frequency retouching. I started watching it, and I was like literally spinning my head. I thought, man, I don't know if it's me, if I'm just stupid or what, but I could not follow along. It was just way too complicated. Anyways, this is how I do frequency retouching. So I got a couple images open here. And I'm going to show you, this is actually a shoot I just did for a local politician. This is the before shot right here, so I'm going to put that one aside. I opened up two images. One, I'm going to show you my slow way to do frequency retouching, but compared to what Lisa does and these other people, it's a bit of a joke actually, but it works. And it's, wait till I show you the action, that's even more of a joke. But anyways, it's what works for me. So the steps that I used to get this look here, you could see that nice smooth gradation. And I know a lot of people use those softening plugins, and I've just never been able to really get them to work. I just never put the time in. Anyway, so here we have frequency retouching. Now it's really simple. You just create two layers, middle layer. You're supposed to rename the layers, but I can't be bothered. I don't do any of that stuff. Gaussian blur, so I'm going to blur the middle layer. Sort of like where you can sort of still see detail. You got to kind of wing it. And you go to the top layer, you go to image, edit. Shit, where is it? Apply image, there it is. All right, so top layer, you got to put it to the second layer. Okay, it's very important. The blend mode is linear. Not linear light. Linear. Where the hell's linear? Linear burn? Linear. See? That's me, you know? No, I got the wrong one. Hold on. So, sorry, I got it backwards. Linear is the next one. We got to go subtract. Sorry, ignore that. That's why I write things down. I have notes right here, see? If I do it often enough, I'll remember it, and I thought I could remember it. So you go to subtract, and you can see sort of the image. Scale in 128 seems to be the default. Keep that all the same, and everything else the same. And click OK. Now this layer here, we go to linear, and she's back. So we select the middle layer, select the selection lasso tool with a nice soft feather. So let's go 16 because it's not a very high resolution image. And then we go in and I select area. So I'm going to start with the forehead. Remember to feather the selection. And then once you do that, you can hit Q, and you could see a sort of preview mask. It'll mask it out for you and tell you, if you hit Q, it'll tell you how the selection is blending, or mostly how the feathering is. See, the feathering is kind of hard there. I probably should have feathered it more. Trial and error. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Gaussian blur. So you got to be careful with this. If you go too hard, you get that sort of thing going on. If you go too soft, you won't have any of the effect. So the goal is to soften it while you're keeping the detail in the skin. Okay, so that's good there. And then the idea is you go around and you keep selecting. And what I tend to do is Shift Control F. I'm going to run the same soft Gaussian blur setting. I mean, you're supposed to go select, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and do that every time. But I figure it's the same image, everything, all things being equal. I can simply just go and make a selection and Shift Control F and apply the last Gaussian blur. Okay, and I just keep doing that over and over and over, and it'll just run the last filter, which obviously is, in this case, Gaussian blur. So this is a little more time consuming, and it's exactly what I had used on that photo shoot of that model in red. Then I found and created this action that I'm going to show you next. So you can see it. It's very subtle. See that? I love it. It just reduces the edginess on the skin, and it keeps the texture intact. Okay, I'm going to show you my action, and I'm going to give it to you guys. So I have it here, and I just hit F8. So I've assigned, I use it so often, I've assigned a shortcut on my workflow. So it creates basically the same settings, and it'll default set the brush. I like to bring the opacity down. Okay, you may think this is totally ridiculous, but because I'm probably not finessing this enough, but you know, for the bulk of my work, which is, you know, families and fairies and medieval shoots and executive headshots, this works. So I'm going in and I'm running the softening according to, I'm painting a low opacity, and it seems to work really well. Definitely a time saver. Definitely a time saver. Okay, and I'll often run it on the rest of the image to soften the rest of the image. So you can see it keeps the texture just like the other frequency separation, but it works. And so there's the step-by-step, there's the action, which is a big time saver, and there's the original without color correction. So this is color corrected, yada yada yada. All right, any questions, let me know. Thanks guys.